Hey everyone, welcome to our 1132 Kids online experience. We are so thankful you decided to tune in today. My name is Miss Lexi.
And I am Mr. Andrew, and I have a question for you and for you. Would you rather be best friends with either Captain America or Iron Man? Me personally, I would choose Captain America because that is the sweetest man alive. That guy has the greatest heart. I just want to be his friend.
I think I would choose Iron Man. I mean, have you seen all the technology he has in his cool suit?
That's true, and he has a ton of cars, so who knows, you might get one too. But we want to know who you would choose. Would you rather be best friends with Iron Man or with Captain America? Make sure to put your answers in the comment section down below.
And while you're down there, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Go check out all our videos and like this one too. You can also follow us on Instagram at 1132 Kids.
That's right. Well, guys, again, we're so excited that you decided to check us out. And why don't we check out this message?
So today we're learning all about our perspective. I know that's a really big word, our perspective. Our perspective just means this, the way we see things. Not necessarily with our eyes all the time, but usually how we see things and understand them and the meaning that we give those things. Okay, I know that sounded very complicated. I'm gonna break it down for you, I promise. But our perspective is like everything. It's so important. So what is the trap? What is the perspective trap? We've talked about what all of the traps are for all of these different things. So what is the perspective trap? The trap is focusing on how big our problems, our issues, our fear, our worries, our concern. You can like fill in the blank. You can like put anything there that you want in that blank, focusing on how big whatever that thing in our life that's taking our focus is, instead of focusing on how big our God is. See, nothing is bigger than God. Nothing is too hard for God. There is nothing that our God cannot do. So having the right perspective is focusing on, wow, I trust God. God has a good plan for me. God can help with anything. But instead, we fall into this trap of focusing on our problems. Now, does this mean that we should just ignore our problems and our problems don't exist and we don't have any problems? No, of course we have problems. We have bad days, we have stressful things. It doesn't mean that those things aren't true and that those things aren't real. It's all about how we see them and how much power and attention we give them in our lives. Okay, so we're gonna break it down together today, but it's important that we understand that our problems exist, but it's the importance that we give them and the focus that we give them. That should be going to God. Exactly right. Okay, so our memory verse for today is like probably the shortest memory verse that like we've ever had in the entire history of our 1132 Kids YouTube channel, okay? It is this. So if you're writing down, you can write down this whole thing like super fast, okay? Our memory verse is found in Hebrews 12:2. It says this, keep your eyes on Jesus. The end. Keep your eyes on Jesus. So we're talking about our perspective, how we see things. What are we supposed to focus on? What are we supposed to give our attention to? What are we supposed to give our importance to? Keep your eyes on Jesus. What did Jesus do for us? What kind of a life does Jesus have for us? How much does Jesus love us? We need to keep our eyes on Jesus. That will always help us have the right perspective. I could just be done right now. I could be like, and the end, goodbye, keep your eyes on Jesus. And then like we'd be winning today, okay? But I have some more for you, don't worry. You're like, what? I'm done taking notes, okay? We're not done. I have more for you, but it's that important. Keep your eyes on Jesus. So perspective is all about how we see things. So have you ever ridden in a plane or gone really high up in the air? One of the things that I want to do that I've never done ever before is go on a hot air balloon. If any of you have ever gone on a hot air balloon, I am totally jealous and I really want to go, and please tell me how you did it and how much it cost because I really want to do it. But I imagine you're not as high as on a plane, but it's still really cool. And you're like up and everybody looks like bugs, right? So if you've ever gone on a plane, like takeoff and landing is the best part, right? It's the most exciting. Other than that, you're just like really high in the air and you kind of forget that you're high in the air. But my favorite plane ride ever is usually at night. So I remember flying, I flew to Florida from Texas and we're taking off and it's at nighttime and you get in the plane and I always want to sit by a window. Honestly, that's like the best seat because you can just lean up against it too and sleep. It's the best. You can avoid whoever's sitting there. Tip, window seat. Okay, so I'm looking out the window and it's nighttime and it's cool because when you take off, which is kind of like a roller coaster and I really like it and I wish I could like lift my hands up and be like, woo, but it wouldn't be socially acceptable in the plane. Don't do that. Other grown-ups judge you. Anyway, so I'm looking out the window and I can see all of the lights. So you can see the street lights and the car lights and the lights that are on buildings. It looks really cool. But as you get higher and higher and higher in the plane, everything starts to look smaller and smaller and smaller. And so the cars look teeny tiny. And then eventually once you get so high up in the air, everything just kind of looks like Minecraft, which is weird. It all kind of just looks like little blocks and squares and stuff, which is kind of like, are we actually living in Minecraft? No, we're not, but it looks like that. When you get so high, you can't even see buildings anymore. You can't see people. You can't see cars. All you can see is just kind of like squares and then clouds, right? But think about this. It got me thinking, like, that's our perspective. So the higher we go, the smaller everything gets. But then on the other hand, have you ever been hanging out outside, maybe inside, hopefully not inside with this story. You ever been hanging out and you're kind of minding your own business, like talking to someone, and then all of a sudden they just kind of like stop looking at your face and they start looking at like your shoulder or something. And you're like, what? What is it? And they're like, no, it's fine. You're like, what is it? And you turn and you look and there's like a bug on you or a spider or something. And you're like, how long was that there? And then they like freak out. Try not to smash it because then the guts, it's disgusting, might not come out, might stain. Anyway, but you don't even notice. You don't even notice that it's there. It could have been there for an hour. It could have been there the whole entire day. You think through your mind like, is there another one? How long has it been there? I'm disturbed now, right? But think about it. You are so big. And that thing, hopefully, is so teeny tiny small. You didn't even notice it was there. That's our perspective. See, when things are really, really big and we're focused on them, they're bigger. When you didn't even notice that it was there because you weren't focused on it. But then when you saw, you were like, whoa, this thing was huge. And then someone else looks and it's like this big. Okay, not very big. But in your mind, you think it's huge because you focused on it. See, that is our perspective. But that's what we do with our problems. The more we focus on our problems, the bigger they get. It doesn't mean that they're not there. It doesn't mean that they're not real. It doesn't mean that they're not stressful or worrisome or whatever it is. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that our focus should not be on our problems. Our focus should be on God and how big He is. How we see things is super important. See, our perspective, having the right perspective keeps everything in the right place. It keeps everything organized. If you like to organize things, it keeps everything in their proper place, in their proper order, but we have to make sure that our perspective and how we see things is correct. So I have a really cool way to kind of explain this and show this to you guys. I have an illustration, okay, that will explain this a little bit better than I am because I don't have anything like cool stuff to show you guys. So sit up really straight and tall, pay attention, and check out this illustration.
Miss Amber here. I am so excited to be showing you guys this amazing illustration on having the right perspective. Now, you might be asking me, Miss Amber, why do you have this suitcase here? It's very important. It's gonna go with our illustration. Now, before we jump into that, it's really important that we understand what perspective is. It's kind of a big word, so it's always important that we break it down so we make sure that we understand. So perspective is just a really big word that simply means this: how we see things. So it's not how we see things with our eyes, actually, it's how we see things in order of importance, right? And we see like how important it is. We put them in order in our lives based on how important things are to us. Things like all of these things that are in my suitcase. So I want you, as I'm going through all of these things, I want you to be thinking about, where is this in my life? What order have I put these things in order of importance in my life? What kind of a perspective do I have on these things? Okay, are you ready with me? Let's see what kind of things are in our lovely suitcase. The first thing, this is really important. The first thing that we need to make sure that we have the right perspective on is money. Now, is money good? Yeah, money can help us. We can actually help others with money. We get food with money. We can buy Cheetos with money. That sounds kind of nice, right? So money absolutely is important, but the most important thing about money is how we see it. In what order is it in our lives? Okay, so there's money. Oh, this is really important. Our family and how we see our family. And we should probably put our family like pretty high on the list, right? Because we love our mom and dad. We love our brothers and sisters. Sometimes we might fight a little bit, but we should always make sure to have the right perspective about our family. What else do I have in here? Oh, goes right with family. Our friends. See, friends are so fun, and it's so important to spend time with our friends. It's important to have the right type of friends, but having the right perspective and keeping those friendships in the time that we're spending with our friends in the right order is really important. What else? Ooh, I know, all of our favorite thing, it is school. Having the right perspective on school is so important. Now, I know school isn't all of our favorite thing, but the way that we see school, we have to see it as a want to. Like, we want to go to school. We get to go to school, not we have to go to school. I know, I remember used to saying that all the time. Oh, I have to go to school. Do I have to? But growing up a little bit, I've realized that school is really important, and school and learning is going to serve us in the future. I always talk about the future Miss Amber. I'm always trying to bless the future Miss Amber. I'm trying to help the future Miss Amber by the choices that I make today, and school is one of those things, especially for you guys that are still in school. Okay, I'll stop talking about school now. Right perspective on school is very important. Oh, this is really important too. How I look. Now, I know some of us are like, what are you talking about, Ms. Amber? Like, I look fantastic. I have amazing hair. Like, I have really pretty eyes. That's awesome. And that's great. But some of us sometimes can put how we look in the wrong order. Or maybe we can think differently about how we look based on what other people tell us, right? So having the right perspective on how we look is very important. Oh, what is this? Ooh, when things don't work out. Have you ever tried really hard? You've put your best effort in something, maybe even school, and you still didn't get the grade that you wanted, or you still didn't make the team that you were trying out for, or you felt like you didn't do a really good job on maybe a school play. When things just don't work out, it's hard sometimes to have the right perspective or see when things don't work out the right way. What else? Two more things. Ooh, this is really important. Having the right perspective on what other people think. Now, it's really important that we learn what other people think. We can learn from them. We can make ourselves even better by what other people think and learning from them. But we all know that what God thinks about us is the most important. So having the right perspective, like what God says about us, number one, what mom and dad say about us, right? Right after what God says. And then you kind of go down the line, seeing how other people, what other people think about us in the right order and in the right way is very important. Okay, and the last thing, what is going to happen in the future? I don't know about you, but maybe some of you guys are really thinking about Miss Amber, what does that mean? I haven't even thought about what's going to happen in the future. That's okay. It's okay if you're not really thinking about that, but we need to make sure that when we are thinking about what's going to happen in the future, that we have the right perspective and we're seeing it the right way and that we're trusting God above all else. Now, most of us know the right order. We know the right order of things in our lives. We know that God needs to be number one, but what happens when things aren't in their proper place? See, having the right perspective is like taking all of these things that we just talked about and making sure to put them in the right proper place, because God always needs to be in the right place. Our family always needs to be in the right place, and how we see them needs to be in the right place. And our friends always need to go in the right place. It's like packing a suitcase. Like you're going on a trip, you want to make sure you have everything you need, and then it goes in the right exact proper place. So you pack everything up. You're so excited to go on your trip. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a plane, but it kind of goes like this. You pack everything up, strap it up, close your suitcase. You are thrilled to go on your vacation. You cannot wait. Hopefully you're going somewhere like sunny, like Florida, right? Or maybe you're going to the mountains and there's going to be snow, but no matter where you're going, you have to make sure to pack the right stuff. You have to see things the right way. So you get on the airplane and you lift up, maybe you have some help, and you lift up your suitcase and you put it in that overhead bin. Then you sit down in your seat, you buckle your seatbelt, and then you hear the flight attendant come out over the loudspeaker and they say, "Please be careful. Take caution when you open those overhead bins because the contents might have shifted," which means they might have moved around. Have you ever been on a plane? And they hit that thing called turbulence. It's my least favorite thing. I really like flying on planes, but all of a sudden you're minding your own business and things start to shake around. So if you're shaking around, your suitcase is shaking around. Kind of like this. Whew, okay. That was a little crazy. I wonder what our suitcase looks like. See, in life, when we hit a bump in the road and we have like a stressful day or a really bad day or something crazy or like a legitimate problem happen in our lives, it can cause us to have the wrong perspective. Everything can kind of get messed up and out of order. I think kind of like my suitcase. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I've gone on a trip before and I've opened my suitcase and like, where was this even it? Like, what? And have you ever like your shampoo and it breaks and it gets all over everything? I mean, this like hurts me to look at. It's kind of a mess. Everything is everywhere, but in life, the same thing happens. In life, when we get stressed out, or when we get sad, or when we worry, or even when we get angry, things in our life can get out of order. Things that we know are right to do, we can have the wrong perspective and we can choose to maybe do the wrong thing. So our perspective and how we see things are so important. So we have two choices to make, okay? So two things that we can do to kind of help us to fix this and organize it and make it look all nice and tidy again. One is we can work really hard to put everything back in its proper place. And we can remind ourselves like, no, okay, that is not the most important thing. I need to remind myself and make sure that that goes in the right place. Is that a good strategy? Is that a good thing to do? Yeah, it is. But it can take a while and it can get really frustrating. But there's a second option. There's actually a better option for us. What we can do is we can say, okay, I know I have to have the right perspective. I know I have to see things the right way. But you know what? I'm just gonna close this up. All of my problems that are very real, all of my problems that are really stressful, all of the things that I know I need to have the right perspective on, I'm just gonna kind of close them up in this suitcase. And what I'm gonna choose to do, instead of worrying so much about trying to struggle and make sure that all of the things are in their proper place and I know the right things about everything and I can see them the right way, instead of that, what I'm going to do is I am just going to keep my eyes on Jesus. I am going to do what God's word said in Hebrews 12:2. Simply this, keep my eyes on Jesus. So our perspective is about seeing things the right way. Well, if I can always make sure to see Jesus the right way, everything else lines up. everything else will work itself out. If we just make sure that our main focus and the main thing that we're trying to see the right way is Jesus, we're gonna be okay. And I don't know about you, but that seems a lot easier for me to do because life is kind of hard sometimes. But God loves us so much that he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for us so we can have this relationship, this friendship with God. So all we have to do to make sure that we have the right perspective is to do what God's word says and to keep our eyes on Jesus. And what does that look like with our illustration? What it really looks like is picking the suitcase up and just handing it to God, saying, I don't know how to organize this. I don't know how to have things in the right order. God, I need your help, but I trust you with it all. It's just handing it all to him. So God can help us to have the right perspective. I hope you guys have enjoyed this object lesson, this illustration so much. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
I love illustrations because it helps us to understand something that could be really confusing, but in a very real way. I also love organization, so this illustration has been my favorite so far. See, we have to have the right perspective because it keeps everything in the right place. So we just need to understand this. We're going to break it down together, that my God is bigger than anything I face. God is bigger than anything I face. And when we keep our eyes on Jesus, it helps us to make sure that God is bigger than anything else. See, we need to learn how to keep things in order. We need to trust God with all of it. See, we can have the right perspective. We can put everything in the right order, but if we basically just don't give God the entire suitcase, if we don't give God just everything, like, yes, I've organized everything. I know I should not really worry about that. Maybe that's a bigger deal. I should maybe have the right perspective there. Honestly, at the end of the day, we just have to give him everything. God is bigger than anything that I face. See, there were a few people in the Bible that knew this. David was one of them. David knew that God was bigger than anything that he could face. See, David spent a lot of time with God. David kept his eyes on Jesus. See, do you remember before he was king, before he fought Goliath, he was out taking care of his father's sheep, and he was actually writing worship songs to God. He was out worshiping God. He was just chilling outside with kind of the stinky sheep, not a great job, but he made the best of it. He kept his perspective right. He spent time with God. He focused on God. He made God really big in his life. And then when that lion came out of nowhere and attacked him, he defeated him. And then a bear came out of nowhere and attacked him, and he defeated him too. And then when Goliath came out of nowhere, David had the right perspective. See, I want you guys to see this. So do you guys remember when David came onto the battlefield because his big brothers were there? They were soldiers in the army, and David wanted to be one, but they kind of made fun of him when he got there. Rude. I'm sure none of you know if you have older brothers and sisters, or if you are an older brother or sister, sometimes you make fun of the little brothers or sisters. That happened to David. It was real life. So he shows up. Everybody's hiding. They're all afraid of Goliath because he's so big. And so think about this. All of the Israelite soldiers that were afraid of Goliath, their perspective, how they saw Goliath was this. They said, oh, no, he is so big. There's no way we can win. But then David looked at Goliath and he said, oh, wow, he is so big. There's no way I can miss. I'm going to go defeat this giant. God is with me. God's on my side. I know how big God is. And he didn't have any fear. He knew that he would be victorious because God was with him, and he had the right perspective. See, there was other people that had the right perspective too. Do you guys remember when Moses said, let my people go, and God freed all of the Israelites, and then they were wandering in the wilderness until they got up to the edge of the promised land, this land that God had promised them. Then Moses said, okay, before we go in there, I need to send 12 of you in there to spy out the land, to check it out, to see if it's good, to see what we need to worry about, or if we can go right in and take it, because it was theirs. God had already promised it to them. That's why it was the promised land. It's like all making sense now, right? So all 12 of them went in. It was Joshua and Caleb and 10 other guys. They all went to the same place. They all saw the same things. But when they came back out, because their perspective was different, they said different things. It says in the Bible that they actually gave different reports back to Moses when he said, hey, is this a good place? Joshua and Caleb said, yeah, it is. There's like giant grapes. There's fresh water. This is amazing. This is good land that God promised. Let's go take it. But then the other 10 guys said, yeah, the grapes are big and the water is fresh and nice and crystal clear and amazing, but there's also giants in the land. There's no way we can do this. Joshua and Caleb said, yeah, there were giants. They saw the giants. It's not like the other 10 guys saw the giants and Joshua and Caleb were over here doing cannonballs in the river, okay? That's not what happened. They all saw the same things. They all had the same problems. But it's all about how they saw that made the difference, their perspective. See, what made Joshua and Caleb have the right perspective over the 10 other guys? Well, if we're reading our Bible, we see this. We see that Moses spent a lot of time with God. God would actually come down. It says this in your Bible. Go check it out. God would come down in a cloud and he would spend time with Moses in his presence. And Joshua and Caleb were very close to Moses. So they spent a lot of time with Moses, who spent time with God. So Joshua and Caleb knew how big their God was. And Joshua and Caleb didn't forget that God parted the Red Sea. Joshua and Caleb didn't forget that God freed them from slavery. They remembered all that God did, and they remembered how big God is. And so when they saw some giants, they were like, well, if God says this is our land, we can do it. But the other 10 guys didn't spend as much time with God. And they seemed to forget all that God had already done for them. And so their perspective was wrong. Their perspective was, we can't do it. So our perspective is everything. Imagine the life that they would have had if God allowed them to go into the promised land. If they all said, yes, we can. They would have been in the promised land 40 years earlier. 40 years. We're talking about this full life that Jesus has for us. Because they had the wrong perspective, they fell into the trap, and actually 40 years was taken from these people that had the wrong perspective. That's a big deal. So we don't need to fall in the trap of having the wrong perspective, of focusing on the things that could go wrong, or even the things that are going wrong, or even our problems. See, the giants were there, but it's all about knowing how big your God is compared to your problems. We have to keep our eyes on Jesus. So having the right focus is everything. So you guys, I want you to remember our series verse. It's found in John 10:10. Jesus is telling us all about this full life that he has for us. He says that the thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. But Jesus said, I came that they may have a life and have it in abundance and to the full until it overflows. That's the plan that Jesus has for us. And to keep us out of these traps, especially out of the trap of having the wrong perspective, our memory verse will help us every single time. It's found in Hebrews 12:2. Simply says this: keep your eyes on Jesus. Focus on the right things, and you will have the right perspective. So I want you guys this week, I want you to pay attention to what you're focusing on. What is big in your life? And if the answer is anything other than how much God loves you or the good plan that he has or this full life that Jesus has, then we need to change our focus and change our perspective. Ask yourself, what has my attention most of the time? What am I giving my attention to? How big does God seem in my life right now? That is going to help us have the right perspective. I always love getting to hang out with you guys. I love getting to learn more about God's word and the plan that he has for us. And I am always looking forward to our times together. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Wow, that message was amazing. I loved our big answer that says, my God is bigger than anything I face.
That's right. And we loved our memory verse today, which was found in Hebrews 12:2, which says, keep your eyes on Jesus.
That's right. And another point that I loved in this message was that what we focus on is what we move towards. So don't forget to fix your eyes on Jesus.
That's so good. Well, guys, before we end this episode, we need to pray. So let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for this day. I just pray that you would just help us to keep our eyes fixed on you, to just help us with our perspective, God, and just realize that you are bigger than anything we face. We love you so much. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Go find us on Instagram at 1132kids, and we will see you next time.